Ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A, Thrive.com. Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
All things food service, recipes, and restaurants. Spoony.
Hey folks, this is Chef Patrick Mosher, better known as the Food Biz Pro, here on Spoony Radio. We have shows regarding food, food culture, the restaurant business, consulting services for businesses, startups of all sorts, not just the restaurant industry. We talk about travel, food destinations. It's a lot of food, fun, and family. Mike from the World Food Championships will be coming on, giving us a weekly update on Saturday afternoons on what's new in the world of food sport. Yes, folks, I said food sport. No, it's not where competitors walk into Kitchen Stadium and beat each other to death with a limp fish. It's where you have 2,000 events which lead to the World Food Championships. Join us for the World Food Championship updates every week. Join us on Spoony on the Dash Radio Network, 24/7 Food Talk Radio.
We're not solving all the world's problems, but we're bringing people to the table. Spoony Food.
Hey there, it's Doc's House of Flapjacks. Appreciate you joining me on today's broadcast. Why I hate my high school guidance counselor. Today's list, decadent chocolate recipes just in time for Valentine's Day. But we're going to begin today with a major appetizer fail, followed by a major ice cream fail. I cannot begin to describe what a significant fail this appetizer fail is. And Chef Patrick, I will need you at some point during this because I can't even wrap my head around this incredible fail. So over the weekend, we had the Super Bowl. And Dana Perino from Fox News, formerly of the George W. Bush administration, posted a picture of queso. Did you see it?
What was purported to be queso? Yes.
Yeah, you saw the picture. Let me just go ahead and share this. She put, "I made queso," and posted a picture of like a crock pot filled with some brown substance. Now, queso is generally brown. Occasionally, people will add beans and meat to it, but it's still white. It's still.
Or yellowish.
Occasionally you can get that or whatever.
Now, I will say.
Okay.
All right. I'll let you go ahead and make your point, and then I'll try to redeem it.
This isn't queso. Queso's cheese. Queso and its specific types of cheese. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, yes. It's a cheese sauce or a cheese dip. That's queso.
Now, I've had it with stuff added to it. Mm-hmm. I've even had an appetizer mix thing that was made out of Velveeta and a can of
Rotel tomatoes,
and then like a chili, like a canned chili, and you put that in there, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's not healthy for you, it's not upscale, but you dip the chips in it. It's lowbrow, good Sunday Super Bowl food, right?
Tastes damn good.
Tastes damn good, exactly. Maybe that's what she was going for. So first of all, people savaged her on Twitter, as they should, and it's actually pretty funny.
There were like an immediate 100 and some odd shares immediately. And here, so some of the other very creative quesos that they came up with. Did you see the bowl with a slice of processed American cheese in it saying, queso, nailed it.
It's just a piece of cheese, right?
It's just a piece of unmelted American processed cheese in a bowl.
Donna said to her, oh, honey, no, bless your heart. Right?
Bless her heart.
Right. Lots of people going, no, it's not queso. I think I'm going to be sick. Oh, my gosh. People added, like, photoshopped people's face over it. Mm-hmm. Like there's, the crying Michael Jordan that they did. All kinds of stuff. What the F? My stomach is churning. All kinds of great stuff, right? So that was interesting. And if you find the meme on Twitter, read through. If you're a foodie, it's just funny, first of all. But second of all, there's some really interesting points made. And then somebody searched through 3 years of her tweets and found what she tweeted that says queso recipe.
Really? So
that likely is this.
I'm sure it had chili and chili powder and some things like that, and it was not blended at that time. At least mix it up so it looks fresh.
Not only is this weird, the recipe I'm about to...
If you're not watching live on Facebook,
Patrick,
Doc's face right now looked like he was going to...
Wait till you hear what's in this queso. Like, if she had half of these ingredients, just a random half, you'd go... Okay, maybe.
Yeah, it's a bit over budget, but yeah. Uh-huh.
She's got crap in here. I don't know what it is, and I can't believe this goes together. Okay. And likely this was heading to the Super Bowl because this was in January of 2016. So 3 years ago, here's the queso recipe that she tweeted out. Velveeta.
Okay.
At least it's cheese. It's cheese
cheese-ish.
that bounces.
It's cheese-ish. Cheese-ish.
It's cheese-like. Cheese-esque, it's cheese-ish. Okay. It's the only cheese that bounces. So, okay, Velveeta. And that's the whole recipe I told you. Velveeta, some chopped tomatoes or even a can of like the roasted
tomato, onion, jalapeno, whatever. Chopped tomatoes, mix it up. And then you dice it up and throw it in the microwave.
Right, and it's fine.
Yeah.
This has Velveeta. What's Rotel? That's the...
Rotel is those are the tomatoes. Those tomatoes in the can with chili. Green chili,
good.
Either mild, medium, or hot.
That's where my recipe differs from hers. She adds then cream of mushroom soup.
Okay, that's the first departure from a traditional recipe. Maybe she's trying to make it a little more hot cuisine. You know, she added a bechamel with mushrooms, basically. Okay, which is a bit off center, but yeah. And
then cream cheese.
Okay, that's a possibility. We'll throw it in just because it's cheese. We'll allow that one.
Okay, I would say though, what would be your motivation for adding cream cheese on top of Velveeta and cream of mushroom soup? You want it more creamy?
Yeah, well, no, there is no motivation.
Rich?
More is sometimes just more. It doesn't mean it's better.
I mean, what do you think their motivation was? Not what
maybe
ours
they didn't
would
have
be.
enough Velveeta and they were just trying to stretch it. I don't know.
I mean, I would add even a heavy cream or something if you wanted to.
You're not adding any flavor to it
right,
that way.
It's just unnecessary. Then sausage. Wait, what? Sausage? I mean, I would reluctantly grit my teeth on top of the cream cheese and mushroom soup for a chorizo. Reluctantly. Hey, it's Doc's House of Flapjacks. Okay.
Sorry, I should not be controlling the board.
Gotcha.
I should not be controlling the board.
So
we're over.
Sausage.
Now we're not blaming you, Ron. You're just trying to fix shit I broke.
No, they're not specific. It just says sausage and not.
It could have. Yeah. Okay. So
I
we
will
could
grit
give
my
that.
teeth and say chorizo maybe. Still weird so far.
Yeah, a little weird, but I mean, I could go with the chorizo sausage-ish because you think chili in queso is sometimes acceptable.
All right. Bacon.
Okay, well, we can't badmouth bacon because we know what happens on Twitter if I say anything negative about bacon.
Here's the thing. Love the bacon. Either go bacon or go sausage. There's no reason for both of them. And now,
no reason to double pork it.
Right, that's right. Double porking in this case is bad. But remember, this is added on top of a cream of mushroom soup, cream cheese, Velveeta. It's okay. And Patrick, we're only halfway through the list here.
You got to be kidding me.
Diced jalapenos. Yes, I know they're jalapenos. Diced jalapenos on top of that. You following this?
Jalapenos.
Okay. Then fresh tomatoes. Wait, you've already got the Rotel chopped up.
Yeah, well, they're cooked in the can, so, they're under pressure. So they're a little mushy. Maybe you want some fresh tomatoes. And
okay, so one
texture.
or the other. What's the purpose?
Yeah, added texture, layer it.
Cilantro.
Okay, I like cilantro, but yeah, okay.
And then heavy cream.
Wasn't creamy enough. Wasn't creamy enough.
Okay, so from the cheese and creamy side of things, let's clump all those together. You've got Velveeta, cream of mushroom soup, cream cheese, and heavy cream.
Wow.
Easily half of those are not needed.
No. Yeah, I mean, remember, you don't need any of those but one.
And what is the cream of mushroom doing to the rest of this? Some of these flavors are lost.
Is it the binder? Maybe, perhaps. Is that what's keeping the cream from separating?
Then you've got
But wait, there's more.
Oh yeah, and that's the list. So Velveeta, Rotel, cream of mushroom soup, cream cheese, sausage, bacon, heavy cream, diced jalapenos, fresh tomatoes, cilantro. So that's the cheeses and cream. Now, the other from the vegetables, Rotel, jalapenos, tomatoes, cilantro.
No onion?
Again, no. Which you could get rid of half of those. Okay. And then from the meat section, the bacon and sausage.
Maybe she has a relative that owns a butcher shop. She's trying to keep him in business.
This is like 3 recipes. This is like when Rachel from Friends, do you remember when she was cooking and made the dish and the pages got stuck together?
I don't remember. What was she cooking?
What do you call the, like the layered dessert that you make?
Like trifle?
Trifle, that's it.
Hey, I got one right.
She's making a trifle, and the pages get stuck together. And it's like a layer of sponge cake and whipped cream and cherries and mashed potatoes and stuffing. And so it goes from a dessert trifle to a savory main dish trifle.
It basically looks like my leftover, my Thanksgiving leftover cake, which is basically layers of turkey, cranberry sauce, stuffing,
yes,
and then mashed potatoes on the outside as the icing.
Yes, but then she had a whole layer of actual sweet stuff. So that's what you're doing here. It's like, guys, cut this just cut it in half.
It's like Willy Wonka, the meal in a pill.
So think about it. Okay, you could take of the meats and separate them. You can make 2 sausage in one category, bacon in the other, right? Okay. Then you've got the Rotel versus the tomatoes. Separate those, add one or the other. Add the cilantro in one pile, the jalapenos in another, right? You add the cream, heavy cream, and cream cheese, one in one in the other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, just throw the cream and mushroom soup the hell out.
Yeah, I agree.
And then split the Velveeta between the 2 of them.
There you go.
I guarantee you either one of those is better, just randomly put together. I would rather just eat a big bunch of cilantro. This is a fail. I saw the look at this and I was like, okay, I guess but this list, the cream of mushroom may be the strangest thing here.
So I really thought, and I was going to defend her, that she had put chili in it, just the chili flavored or taco seasoned ground beef, right?
That's
and
fine.
she had mixed that in, and that's where the reddish color comes from. And then you had to add chili powder and some other things to it. You get that kind of muddy color, and we know it tastes good. But now that you've read the list of ingredients, I can't defend her anymore. I have to wash my hands of this.
This is somebody who was trying to come up with something and like, I don't know, add some mushroom soup. Add some whatever.
But this is a really good point, not just for the home cook, right? But also for aspiring chefs out there.
Sometimes.
Young people that really want to be in the industry or older people that are just trying the industry out for the first time. Sometimes more is just more. It does not enhance the dish. It does not in any way better what you're trying to offer.
And sometimes actually hurts the dish a little bit.
And many times it
By
does.
the way, I'm guilty of that because I love bold, strong flavors. And if it's garlic, yes. No more. No more. It doesn't matter. No matter how much you're putting in there, I'm going to say no more.
No hotter. No hotter.
Right. That's just how I am. I like that flavor. So garlic, things like this. Cream, if I'm going to make something, just add more. So I know, and I have a problem with this. And when I see this list and go, well, that's thrown together there.
Can I tell you something really sad, Doc? And I'm really sorry because you're one of my closest friends. Is I have a little bit of schadenfreude when you eat something that's so spicy you're crying afterwards. You're like, wow, why did I do that?
Oh, you mean the ramen?
Like the Korean ramen, and then you add something to, I don't know how you do that because, it looks like your mouth is going to blister.
Yeah, there's this, this one, I don't even know the brand because it's in Korean. Korean ramen that I eat that is, it's not even mouth painful, which it is. It's your entire head is like a giant pimple.
Well, and actually
just throbbing pain. Ow, don't touch it.
I don't think you're crying. I think your eyeballs are literally sweating.
They are. It's crazy how hot it is. And as much as I like it, it's a little too spicy for me, but I eat it when I got a cold and I'm sick and everything. The germs are like, get the hell out. I'm out.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I have to admit that.
All right, here's what it is. We've got a pod, I almost said neti pod. We've got a Instapot here. We should make this recipe. And by we, I mean you should make this and we should try it because this is such a damn fail. I would like to Turns out it's fantastic.
I think we could try that on the air tomorrow. Can you print that list for me or airdrop it over
it's
here?
via tweet, and I'll go ahead and send it to you, whatever. Okay. But we should, because I want to
airdrop it.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. Let me do that right now. Have you ever had any in your travels, in the kitchen, things you were experiencing, where you're just like, okay, what was I thinking? Those didn't go together. I don't even know how I
No, man, are you kidding? Everything I do turns out perfectly.
Ones that are really noteworthy. Because most of the fails you have, if you're a professional or even a home chef, are minor. You're like, that didn't turn out how I'd hoped.
I tried to make a mole that the base was wasabi. It didn't work out very well.
Oh, and explain what a mole is. I always have it, and I don't know what it's from.
Well, there are different types of mole, but a traditional, the mole you think of is basically a savory sauce. It's from Mexico. Brown. It's brown, and it has raw cocoa in it. That's the basis of the sauce.
I had no idea it did.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of other, roasted chilies, by
the way, real quick, it's not sweet at all. Say cocoa, no. It's for the flavor. It's unsweetened raw
cocoa powder, yeah.
Cocoa. Which is adding a flavor, but not sweet. Cacao, yeah.
Cocoa is that other plant. We don't talk about that one.
Yeah, we could add that, too. I'm shocked it wasn't on Dana's list. No. She had everything else in there.
Shot across the bow.
Okay. So what else is, and then it's just, is there like a chicken broth or something? Because it ends up kind of savory.
So you'll have a base, which is a broth or panjou or but a mole is very technical. This is not a sauce that can be just thrown together, right? There are specific ratios, and if you don't do it correctly, it ends up tasting muddy, right? It's kind of like if you've ever tried to make curry from scratch.
Yeah.
If there's a disproportionate ratio of ingredients, again, it's kind of this earthy, muddy, overpowering, overwhelming. It's just a gritty feeling. Well, now think about that. It's this raw cacao, unsweetened. Savory sauce with cacao powder as the base, a little gritty, and then add wasabi into that. So that was a pretty bad fail on my part.
Interesting. So, well, here's the thing. I get the moles, and growing up, Mexican food to me was, we're going out to Chi-Chi's to get a chimichanga. I mean, that was pretty much my knowledge of
Can I tell you, that
food.
was my first Mexican food. When I moved to Arizona,
it was everybody's Mexican food.
We moved to Gilbert, Arizona. We were going to Chandler, Arizona, about 10 miles away, and we stopped at this little place. All I know was on Cooper Road. I don't remember the name of it. And I had a chimichanga, and the heavens opened, and the angels sang.
But it was legit. It wasn't the Chi-Chi's.
I was hooked, baby.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, no, it wasn't. But it was, I'll tell you, that was I haven't had one
really
in
cool.
a long time, but.
So, I, over the years, had stumbled across, and more authentic, like mole. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll have the mole sauce. Is it made from real moles, And I tried a couple times, and it was very good. And then I get other times, and it wasn't bad. And this is my general criticism of Mexican food. Mexican food done well is one of those ways God loves you. One of those amazing ways. Mexican food done bad, here's the thing, is not bad. It's not like you eat it and you go, that's disgusting. But when you're done with it, or at least my experiences are, when I'm done with it, I go, why did I eat that? Like the whole meal, I'm struggling to find something to make it better. Maybe if I had more jalapenos that are on the table or salt, or I keep trying to dress it up. And then I'm pissed when I'm done because it was just, And I don't find a lot of middle ground Mexican food. It's either, why did I eat that? Or, that was amazing.
Please, sir, I want some more.
And that's true of moles, too.
Absolutely.
What are they screwing up, do you think, that, or what do you think the likely fail is if I'm getting just,
as far as mole?
Yeah.
Well, quality of ingredients is one, and the time and patience to do the sauce correctly. So, you can use any variety of dried chilies, typically guajillo chilies, dried chilies, but you have to take these dried chilies, rehydrate them to some extent, puree them, take that, smush it through there's a lot of work involved. There are many steps.
Oh, then they're shortchanging the whole thing.
Yeah. And you got to, it takes time. The base is garlic, onion, jalapeno, chili powder, cinnamon. There's typically cinnamon, cumin, and oregano. Mexican oregano is actually an overlooked ingredient in a lot of Mexican cooking that people don't think about.
Oh.
The whole leaf oregano that they have is fantastic.
That makes a lot. Yeah, they're rushing it.
Yeah, and then there's some flour to thicken, vegetable or chicken stock, and then whatever. Then it kind of comes to the chef. Tomato or tomato paste is typically an ingredient, and then the cacao powder, cocoa powder.
And by the way,
salt to taste.
Quick little side note too. Tomato paste is not a failure of cooking.
It's not. It's actually essential for some things.
Thank you. Because people look at, I use stuff from a jar. No, that's a completely separate thing. Tomato paste is tomatoes made into paste. And if you'll look at the can of tomato paste, you'll notice it doesn't say tomato paste plus 14 other ingredients. It's usually just tomato paste.
Exactly.
Occasionally it'll have, rarely, but occasionally it'll have an ingredient to keep from going brown or preserve it.
Antioxidant, basically.
Right. But
it's essential to some French.
Yes.
So if you make a roast, a veal veal stock, right? You do something where you take tomato paste and you take your trilogy, basically your celery, onion, and carrot, and you saute that until it's pincé in the pan. Basically, until the tomato starts to caramelize in the pan and the vegetables start to cook, and then your garlic, and then you add your bones to that, and then you roast that, and it changes things completely.
Yeah, but you got to remember, I need to experiment more with tomato paste because I love that sour, rich tomato flavor.
And tiny bit of sweetness just at the end, though.
Yeah, just absolutely. But man, I got to do more. Oh my gosh, I had an idea for something we have to try. So the other day, I'm eating chips with sriracha on them.
Sounds good.
Just squeezing sriracha right on the chips.
Awesome.
Okay. You're not going to nail me for the sriracha being all gone?
No, but I tell you, I really wanted sriracha the other day, and I was like, Doc, did you get all the sriracha? You go, yes, I just finished it.
I did like an hour before. Okay, it wasn't our work sriracha. It was my home sriracha, in my defense.
No, I get that. Well, what had happened was we had a guest, Dr. Ken, had brought lunch, and they were tasty, but by tasty, I mean a little bit on the dry side.
You needed some sriracha. So I realized how much I love the actual flavor of sriracha. Again, I love it for the heat. Like, I'll just throw it in there for a little heat now and then, or a little bit of the acid and heat. But when you get a spoonful of sriracha, there, aside from the heat, there is just a amazing flavor.
I agree.
So having a little puddle of sriracha was awesome. And then I started thinking, and awesome, I just squirted it on chips. A little puddle of it, and it was amazing.
I do the same thing with Cholula. Yeah.
Started thinking, what if you had a dish where you had a little puddle of sriracha? Some sort of ravioli with some sriracha in it. And I'm like, well, I don't want an entire pocket, or do I, of sriracha. Let me think. What if you added, now I was thinking like some sort of pulled beef, right? Like a brisket or something, or even ground, where you flavored that. And I mean, you went like sriracha was the sauce in there. Boom, go. Am I on the right track?
No, absolutely. But I think you could go a step further. You could still have the pocket of sriracha. Have you ever seen the soup dumplings?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So what they do is they take a frozen ice cube, basically of a small ice cube of soup, and then they put it in the dumpling wrapper, and then when they steam it, it becomes liquid in the molten in the middle.
That's how they get the liquid inside.
So if you took a little a very small pellets, not pellet size, but maybe a musket sized the ball that you fired a musket, that size pellet of frozen sriracha.
And made it around there.
And then you put the meat around that, or you put the meat on the dough, and then you put your sriracha and then more meat on top, and then folded it with the pastry.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we got to try something like that.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I'm imagining a pulled brisket because I like that texture. But I'll tell you, ground beef may go as well as...
you could actually use something like shredded pork shoulder as well, that nice fatty,
you're
rich
right.
pork.
But I want that liquid blast of sriracha. I want that.
And it should melt in there and just be, it might melt out a little bit into the beef, but it's going to be pretty potent in the middle.
I think we got something there that could... I'm imagining a smaller, almost bite-sized ravioli. The small little ones. For most people, it's still 2 bites. For me, it's 1 bite. But
well, well, Doc is a big guy. You're tall.
Yeah. All right, another fail. So that was our appetizer fail. Now, ice cream fail.
Which there are many.
I have had all kinds of flavored ice creams that are non-traditional flavors. I've had mushroom ice cream. It's dirty. Just tastes earthy. I've had lavender ice cream. Stop trying to cook with lavender. It sucks.
It's lavender.
It tastes like you're eating perfume to me. I've had garlic ice cream. Surprisingly good. Shockingly good.
Roasted garlic, yeah.
Yeah, roasted garlic. And it was garlic. It almost has that sweet, or the sweet went well with it. It was fantastic. I've had a lot of bizarre ice cream. I've had beer ice cream. Pretty good. I wouldn't choose it over chocolate or vanilla, but okay. This is an absolute failure. Over in the UK, an ice cream store, and this looks more like gelato, but still ice cream, is haggis ice cream.
Oh, come on, man. It's a meal and dessert all in one. No, that's just
why
right.
It's a fail. Not because, and I'm admitting I've never had haggis. I've had a lot of bizarre stuff, but never haggis. And haggis is the sheep stomach stuffed with other entrails.
Beef and barley, yeah.
And stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not that's so disgusting. Like a lot of people would find haggis disgusting, wouldn't try it. It's not that. It's what is the flavor of haggis? Haggis doesn't have, that's haggis flavor. Haggis flavor is similar to a dozen other dishes that are made with, if you use beef in it and barley and whatever else and basic spices. That's it.
I'm going to equate this to, why don't you just make liver and onion ice cream?
Oh, wow. You're right. That's more
It's
American
not the same
too.
flavor, but it's like, it's the equivalent here. What is liver and onion?
I mean, just say, okay, I'm going to do salt and pepper and garlic ice cream. So you see what I'm saying? Or an onion. It seems, and then, I mean, unless you're putting little pieces of haggis in it.
And if you are,
that's what I'm. Wow, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to take back some of what I said about Dana Perino after haggis ice cream. Look, I made ice cream. It's haggis ice cream. No, I would definitely try it. I'm curious about it. I would try. Would you try? Would you take a big bite of it?
Yeah, I'd have to try it, wouldn't I?
Are you opposed to are you opposed to trying a bunch of stuff like that?
Absolutely not.
I'm absolutely. As a kid, you go like this. You go, it's disgusting. Like it's painful to try stuff. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I tried it. That's horrible. Here, have a bite. Try this. It's horrible. All right, coming back. We still have to get to today's list just in time for Valentine's Day. It's Doc Thompson's House of Flapjacks. Dating today with all the crazies out there has to be nuts.
Yes, it really would. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a place you could go to find people who think like you do?
Like me, like libertarians and conservatives?
Right?
There is. We the people dating.
Amazing. What a genius idea. This is a site that you can go to if you're single and you are looking for somebody who you're going to think the same way, as for from a political freedom standpoint. If you want to date the right person for you, you'll find them in one place. WeThePeople.dating.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A, thrive.com.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
Funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone, RIDUzone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism,
Yes,
so you're
it does.
burning more.
Yeah, it does.
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com, RIDUzone.com.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
I hate my high school guidance counselor. I hate all of them. I had several when I changed schools. Now, I hate them. Absolutely hate them. Now, I will admit that a lot of people in those high school guidance counselor positions, that was not their dream job. They're like, I'm on my way to being principal, and this was a stop or whatever. Unfortunately, in today's schools, and it's probably not just public schools, they don't do a great job of talking about specific jobs you could get. They don't dive into industries. Patrick, if I said, the kid said to you, hey, I'm interested in the food service industry. Okay. Almost always that means They want to work in a kitchen of
more than likely you want to be a chef.
Okay, cool. That's fine. It's great. How many other things in the food service industry are there?
Oh,
thousands and thousands. Ones we can't even come up with here. There is, I work for a distributor to restaurants like a Cisco or something. I work as a butcher or a local distributor, right? That's food service and whatnot. In the restaurant business, you could be the manager, you could be a mixologist, somebody working in a bar doing an upscale thing. I'm not throwing drinks together,
Server.
something legit. Sommelier. I mean, you could work in the ag side of it. And by the way, you could be a sommelier. There are jobs, sommelier, working for a vineyard.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they hire them.
You could be a sommelier in a restaurant. You're the wine steward. You're the one that goes around to the tables and recommends what wine you should pair with your meal.
You want the Bordeaux 56, right?
Yeah, exactly. At $2,000 a pop. Yes.
Yeah. So, but I mean, those are the. But like even sommelier, nobody says to you, you could end up working for a major Fortune 500 company because they do lots of parties. You could work for a vineyard. You could work for a wine distributor. You could work for a restaurant, an upscale one, like you said, as a wine steward. You could be an author. You could end up as a consultant to a broadcast network about wine.
Absolutely.
Are you familiar with Dr. Sanjay Gupta on CNN?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know who he is.
Okay, the guy's resume is, I mean, it is inspiring, awe-inspiring when you see what this guy's done. He also is a contributor on CNN, so he does that as a side. So even within an industry like food service, you don't realize all of these things. You could start a restaurant. You could start a chain. You could start a 24-hour live stream of food talk.
Really?
Well, they can't now because we did it. But you see what I'm saying? So there's all of these things within that one thing. Well, I like food. Maybe I could do something. Well, let's sit down and dive into all the things. So if you say, well, I like communications. When I was in high school, I guess right at the end of my high school year, radio kind of shows some interest in. I had no idea I could talk about food, do a talk show. I thought it was just spinning records and whatever. But the reason I hate my high school guidance counselor today is yet another job has popped up where I'm like, if only I knew this was a thing. A job has presented itself in the United States, mind you, that pays a salary for a person to travel the United States and eat free chocolate. That's it.
Wait. Can you say that one more time? I think I misheard you.
You get paid a salary to travel the U.S. and eat chocolate. Pretty much all of the chocolate you want to eat.
I'm still not sure you're speaking English,
chocolate.
Doc. Did you say?
Chocolate.
Did you really say that?
To eat chocolate.
You get paid to eat chocolate. You drive around the United States, get paid to eat chocolate.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I might be qualified for that.
I'm not sure. You're not as qualified as me, and that just means I would have to.
You run faster. You run faster, and you're stronger. That's what that
there
means.
It is. So, a lot of times you see these jobs where they're like, "Hey, such and such is paying people to travel to remote paradise islands and take pictures." It's pretty much a promotional thing to get web traffic and whatever. Now, this is a veiled one of those as well, but it's more legit than a lot of them. It is truly, I don't know what the salary is. I mean, a salary could be $4 a year. It's probably reasonable. It's probably not 7 figures. It's probably not 6 figures, but it's still pretty interesting. If you're into chocolate promotions, you want to learn a little something, not just about the country, but chocolatiers and whatever. It's a company out of, I think the company may be out of the UK, Amsterdam. It's Tony's Chocolates. Tony's?
I don't know, but I'll look it up.
I didn't know if you heard of
I'm
them.
curious now.
So what they are doing is they want somebody to travel the country and eat chocolate in a Choco truck in order to talk chocolate, promote their brand, but they're really serious about telling people about the problems in the cocoa industry. There are all kinds of problems in the cocoa industry.
Really?
The cocoa trade is savage right now. You've got slavery.
Yes.
It's slavery, child labor, sex trafficking tied to it, brutal, savage warlords. This is the truth.
Yeah, and because you think about the countries where cacao, cacao beans grow. Ghana, the Ivory Coast, basically.
Ooh, those are great places, aren't they?
And then a number of, more impoverished countries in Central.
And why do they call it the Ivory Coast?
Ivory.
Because of legal ivory? No. It's a lot of people know about blood diamonds. That's what you're talking about here. And it doesn't matter your political makeup. Doesn't matter where you are. I'm pretty sure we all agree that slavery is bad. Child trafficking, child sex, warlords, all of this is bad. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment you stop eating chocolate. We're just not going to do that. It's difficult to even do the research usually to go, well, this is, harvested from a place where they pay people and all of this, and there's no children involved. Tony's apparently is serious about it. And I'll take them at their word that this is their cornerstone of their business. So they have this chocolate truck. So in addition to everything else and to promote their brand, they're really serious about saying, hey, we don't support chocolate that is harvested that way. In fact, you and the world have to recognize what a real problem that is. I'm fine with that. That's good.
Yep.
That's good. It's good business.
Yeah, it's Tony's Chocolonely, I think is what it's called, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And their slogan is, together we will make chocolate 100% slave-free.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I wonder if they actually started because of that. I mean, I wonder if Tony, whoever started it, was... A lot of people go, I love chocolate, so I'm going to start a chocolate business. Or they say, I'm going to start a business. Let's do chocolate. I think there's a hole in the market. It seems like he was driven to tell people about the problems in the cocoa industry.
Yeah, there must have been. Maybe there was some. I have not read the full story.
Like there was a catalyst, probably.
Yeah, probably something that sparked that.
But think about that. Think how cool that would be. You're traveling as a spokesperson for this. That's awesome. And from their perspective, what's that cost you? You buy a truck, whatever that is. Once you have it, fuel. This person could probably do it by themselves, but even if you have to pay two people a salary, and you even pay them a modest salary of $35,000, $40,000. Fuel, traveling, good part of it, probably not more. I'll bet for after you buy the truck, in salaries and gas for two people, some stays here and there, $150 a year.
Probably at the most, yeah.
Yeah. To promote your business? What was an ad in the Super Bowl? Millions?
Well, we looked at the 50 by 50 tour, and I think
the fuel portion's pretty low.
Yeah, it's pretty low. $5-6 grand somewhere in there at the most, because we're talking about a car, or a truck. Yeah, I think you're definitely under 150. But what's the exposure side?
And that's the whole point. So it's pretty interesting business. You're going to see more and more stuff like this as promoted. Coffee industry also having the same type of troubles. And where does it grow? Similar locales, right?
And poor Juan Valdez, he's gone now. He passed away a few
He
weeks
was the
ago.
gold standard, folks. We lost a good one. We lost Juan Valdez. That was rough. Rough on all of us, I know. Raise a glass to Juan today. All right, Patrick, we are heading down to Valentine's Day. Just 11 days away now. What's the matter?
Nothing.
It's Valentine's Day. It's coming up a week from Thursday.
Nothing.
Do you have a Valentine in mind?
Can I just tell you that I don't celebrate made-up holidays?
How dare you? Made up. It's named after Saint Valentine, the patron saint of love, togetherness, romance.
Follow the money, Doc. Follow the money.
How dare you be practical when I'm living in my fantasy world today?
I think part of the reason that it's such it's kind of gets in my craw is that it's amateur night in the restaurants as far as the diners go.
Crap, you're right.
And it's always been such a painstaking experience as a chef. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had some great experiences on Valentine's Day, but it's a rarity. It's kind of like Mother's Day. It's like everybody goes out and they're the expert that's going to treat mom to dinner. Valentine's Day is kind of the same day. Okay. I'm going to make this over-the-top special. And I know that's not what I expected because I didn't understand what you wrote on the menu, but that's not my fault because that's not what I wanted.
I see. Yeah, I understand. Although being on a Thursday, that's good for business, isn't it?
It is. It is actually. Yeah. It extends because
it extends the weekend.
You pick up early diners on Wednesday.
Right.
Then you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday are bigger than expected. Sunday's kind of a leftover, and Monday are people that are like, I didn't want to go with the crowd, so we went to Monday.
So what is the best day? Would Wednesday be splitting the week too much, or is that the best?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are a little tough. Now, Monday's good because it extends the weekend, but what it really does is it forces diners in early, and it makes Thursday, Friday, Saturday harder than they would have been to begin with.
Okay, so Thursday is one of the best days, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it kind of evens it out. And,
so you'll get some
5
Wednesday,
days.
and you get 5. Yeah, that makes sense.
You get Thursday to Monday.
Our buddy DeGarro, Case DeGarro. I keep wanting to say Chase. Case DeGarro from Bentonville. Who does he still do work at Crystal Bridges?
I believe he's still their food and beverage director. Yeah, and their MC for almost every event there.
My wife and I went to an event with Case years ago. A Valentine's Day. Wow.
Wednesday on the Water.
Wednesday on the Water, where they pair. And Crystal Bridges is a fantastic museum, an art museum of American art in Bentonville, Arkansas. One of the Walton daughters started, Alice Walton, and she has filled it with millions upon millions of dollars of world-renowned art. Yeah, they have a couple billion, just to
I was going to
say has to be billions.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
She has several Liechtensteins, art, Warhols, just these amazing pieces of art. And they always have stuff. And the building itself is a work of art. It is truly a destination spot. I cannot say enough good things about Crystal Bridges. Set a time. You don't even have to love art and go, and the experience will be marvelous for you. And go to one of these events where Case will pair wine and art. So it was Valentine's Day a few years ago, and my wife and I went to one of his events. And it was all about chocolate.
Ooh.
And hearts. Do you remember the big heart that hangs in the main hallway of the restaurant 11? They opened on 11/11 of 11, November 11th, 2011. So their main restaurant is called 11. By the way, if you're in the area, it's a great restaurant to go to. The prices are so reasonable. The food is done first class. It's done upscale and nice and tastes amazing. Go there. Trust me. And I'm a snob when it comes to that. Well, they had this big gold metal heart that weighs, I think, into the thousands of pounds, if I remember them talking about it.
It's sturdy. Let's just say it's sturdy.
Yeah. And it's got to be, 6 feet across, and it's kind of bulbous on the sides, almost, bulbs out. And it hangs in there. And that is, I think, a reproduction of famous art where the guy made big stuff like that. And if I remember the story right, he fashioned the heart in honor of a child, I think his son, who passed away. If I remember, that's the history of it. But anyways, when we went to this wine on the water event and they paired, the wine with the art, that was one of the pieces they talked about, and there were a bunch of other pieces as well. And Case does such a damn good job. I'm envious of Case being as good as he is.
Yeah, and so,
honestly, seriously, I've done this a long time. I have a little knowledge of the restaurant. Here's a guy who comes to it from that side who is maybe better on the air than I have ever been.
And so he's not just so he's an MC, a very knowledgeable person from the food and beverage industry. As a matter of fact, he had a restaurant in Fayetteville with Chef Stephen Brooks. Actually, he was the corporate chef for
And they have their show here on Spoony.
Yeah, they have the Salmon of the High South.
So,
and he is such a pro.
He's just such a pro. Yeah, so he MCs these on top of being the owner. So he went through, and they started pairing some food and stuff. And in the middle of the table was a big wrapped up present on every table. And they're like, don't touch that yet, folks. About halfway through the evening, they said, all right. And everybody would open that up. And you untie it, and it is a giant chocolate heart. The size of, it was probably the centerpiece about the size of a basketball, maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, so it's huge. Yeah, big.
Wow.
Big 3D huge heart, but kind of light. It was a shell. It wasn't solid. And he goes, all right, we need somebody to stand up, stand over the middle of the table, raise your hands into the air, and just let it drop into the middle of the table. And they did, and it was filled with all kinds of goodies, and they come tumbling out. Little chocolate, brownie cupcakes type, like that shape, the little bite-sized brownies. And chocolate kisses. All kinds of these special-made treats that they did from the broken heart that just spills out. It was such an amazing presentation and so simple. I'm sure to make the hearts were not, and then they tied that into the whole thing. It was fantastic.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Isn't that clever?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a couple of those. Wow. I mean, I went to Warhol in Nature, which he emceed.
I was there. I didn't see you.
Oh, man. Oh, so that was
I was ignoring you across the hall.
I'm sure you were. That was actually it was before we met each other. But that was when they did all the fermentation. They made all the pickled vegetables in house there, and then they had them in the beautiful jars on the table, and we opened up the jar. It was basically a giant picnic basket.
It's always very interactive. What kind of vegetables?
So they did asparagus, wild carrots. They had all sorts of, and then they had spreads and bread, and it was all made in house. It was amazing. It's always such an experience. And Doc, I mean, if you have not been, look, I grew up in New York City, the most amazing museums in the world. But I'll tell you what, Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Bentonville stands up to any museum in Manhattan.
That's the best way to say it.
Absolutely.
And given the lack of congestion, and by the way, there's a whole running trails and bike trails that kind of, it's in the middle of all of this stuff.
Hundreds of miles.
Yeah, that is so cool. It's not congested. It's easy to get in and out. The people are friendly. It's cheap. In fact, it's free.
Yeah, I love when people complain about the traffic up there.
Yeah,
it took me 8 minutes to go from Rogers to Bentonville. It should take me 3. I'm like, okay, 8 minutes. You moved here from LA 4 years ago, and you're complaining about the traffic.
Right. But I mean, in the museum's free. It's so fantastic. But anyway,
it is awesome.
Think about that as something. If you're looking for something on Valentine's Day, doing something like that, it was so playful and simple. So you have this big. Imagine you have this nice event planned, right? You're going to make dinner for somebody, man, woman, doesn't matter. Significant other, maybe for your family, you could do this, and you play out this dinner, and you have this thing on display. Maybe you don't wrap the heart, maybe you put it under glass or something like that, and you have it on display. And when it's time for dessert, or maybe if that's your focus on the evening, because amore, you hold this heart, you have somebody else do it, or you do it, and you just drop it onto the table and let it crack open with all the desserts. It's such a fun thing to do.
As a business model, you could actually make those and sell them for Valentine. You talked about being in the food service industry. That's kind of a creative thing to do, to make something very unique around these annual holidays and find a niche market for them. If you're good at that kind of thing.
Think about that as a restaurateur. Let's say you charge, I don't know what the heart and that would cost, but let's say the price tag on it's $10 to make when you're making several of them each. You could easily say this is a $19.99. Here it is, a $20 heart. You crack it open how you want or whatever. It'd be awesome.
Well, what if you? I was
part of
thinking
the overall
absolutely. If you want to add that to it,
right?
But what if you want to do something where you maybe you couldn't afford to go to a $200 dinner? Maybe you could do something where we have a resource here, Cheryl at Mixed Metaphors. You could have a drink made with their name, a special drink just for that person based on their likes and tastes and their favorite flavors.
And truly, this sounds cliche, but whether it's Christmas or Valentine's Day, anytime you're trying to do something for anybody else and trying to give them a gift, a present of sorts, the best ones are the ones where you just take a moment and say, let me think about them. That's the whole key. I mean, it's supposed to be, I want to get Chef Patrick a gift. Now, I wouldn't do this because I don't like him that much, but if I did, I would say, what does he need? Or tell me about him, or what can I do for him? It's about them. So in general, if you're going to do something like this, like you said, a drink, or if you make one yourself, Mixed Metaphors would be awesome. You want to do something yourself, you sit down and think, what are they? What do they like? What they eat?
Well, so you talked about if you're going to make dinner, instead of going out for an expensive dinner, think about your loved one's favorite foods and favorite flavors and what the season is, and make them dinner.
It'd be a great thing to do. And those dishes or those times you can prep ahead, really, really cool. So in honor of Valentine's Day, and are you do you have a date for a week from Thursday, Debbie or anybody? Cheryl, Sarah,
you?
Yeah, I think
I'm
gone.
His name's Ron, I think.
I'm just going down.
Ronaldinho.
I'm thinking of all the women I've known that you've had relationships with, and I'm just wondering if
all
Debbie,
those
or
women.
Sarah, or
all
Charlene,
those women. Yeah.
Or Carla.
You're such a yeah, because you know who my bunkmate is 9 times out of 10? His name's Doc.
Doc, I know.
So we call him Big Spoon around here.
We room together during the week because we're trying to get this business off the ground. So, all right. Well, here's some ideas for you. Again, it's on today's list of decadent chocolate dessert recipes. This one sounds fantastic. It is a salted caramel chocolate tart. Now, I love dark chocolate more dark chocolate. And milk chocolate, I've become more a fan of recently. I just love the bold flavor of dark chocolate. It's sharp. Recently, I've come to like the creaminess and the sweetness of milk chocolate more than I ever did. I never hated it, but I like it more than I ever did. But I got to tell you, when pairing other flavors with chocolate, certainly milk works fine, milk chocolate. But I still generally prefer dark chocolate. Dark chocolate and caramel, because, see, that's sweeter. Milk chocolate, creamier, and a little bit sweeter, because a lot of us like dark chocolate. You start getting into 60, 70, 80, 90% cocoa, where you're getting rid of more of the sugar. It's not as sweet. So if you've got a salted caramel or something, that's going to be sweet. So I like that bold chocolate dark flavor, just me personally, and then the sweetness of the caramel. Or peanut butter is the same way. It's easy to overshadow one of those flavors, but I love it like that. My one fail when it comes to dark chocolate is certain fruits paired with it, because dark chocolate has a tendency to be sour. So if you're using like raspberries or blueberries or something that's more sour, more acidy, it just doesn't have a great flavor, in my opinion. It just doesn't quite work as well. It does for strawberries because they're not as sour. It's kind of a lighter flavor, but listen to this. A dark chocolate salted caramel tart. So think of tart, little tart pans with the round crust. Is that fluted? Is that what you call the top of that there? It's kind of
so it's like a scalloped edge.
Yeah, the tart pan, something like
tart
that.
Shell.
Tart shell. And it's made from chocolate as well. So you have the crust is the cocoa powder and the flour and the butter and the milk and whatever. So you got that down. The filling, sugar, cream of tartar, unsalted butter, heavy cream, and then kosher salt. See what's going on there, right? That's the caramel, right?
Delicioso. So far, so good.
And then topped with a ganache. Ganache. Thank you. Semi-sweet chocolate. They say don't go above 70% cocoa. Finely chopped, heavy cream, unsalted butter. You cut it into small pieces, and that's the ganache. How good does that sound? Now, for me, this dish done right cannot have, or should not have, too much caramel. That crust has got to be really represented. Normally, the crust of the tarts like that are kind of thin. But if you start adding a lot of caramel and chocolate on this, the balance is going to be thrown off for me personally.
And balance is going to be key on this.
I would say on both of those as well. The others on the list, luxurious hot chocolate. Listen to this. Chocolate budino with candied walnuts. They say it's a wobbly special pudding. It's not thickened. Are you familiar with the budino? I was not familiar with it. Made from chocolate, eggs, cream, spiked with olive oil, salt. That sounds good. I like the candied walnuts. Interesting.
Is that Bundino? B-O-N-D-I-N-O?
Yeah. Not Bundino. B-U-N-D-I-N-O. Yeah, B-U-N-D-I-N-o. It's like kind of a pudding.
I've had something similar to that. I don't recall, to be honest with you, it was called Bundino. But,
on today's list of dark chocolate decadent recipes for for Valentine's Day, this is such a fail. Flourless chocolate cake. Let me help you out. No, flourless is not a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. It's a thing. People are trying to make it a thing. It's not a thing. Stop. The no-bake chocolate cookies was bad enough. I reluctantly ate those because my school only made those. I couldn't get regular stuff. So I had, what I'm talking about, with the cocoa, with the oats rather, and no, that's barely a thing. I grit my teeth and look the other way on that, but flourless, stop it. What is the advantage of flourless? What are you getting there? Eat fudge if you want flourless. Stop it. Flourless,
but typically a lava cake is flourless.
A lot of those I've had are actual cake, and then they just put the lava inside.
Yeah, they put the molten puck in there. But there's a way to do it if you do it flourless. So it's basically it's cornstarch, sugar, cocoa powder, and butter.
What's the advantage? This, what happened here? This is a chef ran out of flour, and they're like, "Oh crap, I don't have anything." Flourless.
Roy Yamaguchi of Roy's in Maui. I'm going to blame him.
Stop it. It's not a thing. You guys got to knock this off. I'm serious. I will not allow this to
now
stand.
we need an oven so I can make you like a flourless chocolate cake, and you'll see why it's really good.
What's the advantage? Is it better than chocolate cake?
Oh, man.
It
actually.
Oh, no. Stop it.
All right.
I'm not buying that.
What is the wager on this one? I know. Let's not get that. Don't think too hard, Doc. Let's not get too creative on this one.
Okay, we'll make that bet at some point. Okay.
I say the loser buys the next round of pizza and pasta at
That's fine. But
at our local place.
We'll have to get the parameters of how we'll know. And I am comfortable with, because we could do a pick the best one and blind test, taste test, or whatever, but that's usually difficult to do with this type of thing. I am comfortable with the honor policy, that I would be honest if it where they rank on the scale. Biases do play, but chocolate blackout cookies. These are kind of whoopie pies. So I hate the name cookie here because it's more cake. But I'll look the other way. That's fine. But I like the concept. I keep, in the back of my mind, I've had this idea for a dessert, and I don't even know where to go with it. I'm imagining some sort of the cookie part being very crispy. Have you ever, I think of the cookie, a very, really crispy chocolate cookie that, like a biscotti. Mm-hmm. Okay, have you had the chocolate biscotti, which I love?
I used to make biscotti and stuff for Christmas and give them out, make tins of them, different flavors. I want
little bite size. The cookie is like a biscotti, but it has some sort of little filling in it. Now, that may be difficult to do. I'm not talking logistics here. I'm just talking what's going on in my head. Maybe you'd have to do it as a topping, but some sort of creamy something there that is also kind of a chocolate thing.
You could do, maybe you could do two thinner, chocolate butter cookies, right? Like sugar cookies, but with some sort of a creamier ganache type filling between them.
Oh, yeah. I thought about it done like that. You're right. Well, and the reason is because anytime I get biscotti, which is good, if it does have something on it, either there's nuts on top or it has a chocolate
dipped in chocolate on one side.
Dipped in chocolate or something like that.
But it's still kind of waxy chocolate, yeah.
Right. Bittersweet chocolate truffles on our list. Chocolate macaroon cake. Oh, what is that? I'm going to have to explore this one. All right. So we have a lot more to get to on our list of decadent chocolate recipes for dessert for Valentine's Day. We'll just hold this over and get to the rest of it tomorrow, give you some other ideas and some things. We head down to the Valentine's Day holiday. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do for the... That's true, but the women don't think that way, so we have to just suck it up and come up with some crap. Some ways to impress the women and our men and our... Okay, I'm going to have to come up with something for my wife. All right, Chef Patrick Mosher is coming up next. Stand by as Spoony continues.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump tonight heads to Capitol Hill, where he will deliver his second State of the Union address. Here's White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
In his speech, the president's expected to highlight rare bipartisan accomplishments from last year and push Democrats to work with him on issues of potential agreement, such as infrastructure and drug prices. But it'll be hard to ignore the rancor between Democrats and Mr. Trump that led to a partial closure of the government and a still unsettled dispute over a proposed border wall. Greg Clugston, the White House.
The jury in the El Chapo drug trafficking trial now into day 2 of deliberations in New York. Here's correspondent Warren Levinson.
The anonymous jury in Brooklyn began its first full day of deliberation in the case against Joaquin Guzman, the drug lord nicknamed El Chapo. Defense attorney Jeffrey Lichtman arrived at federal court to wait.
I don't know what's going to happen today. Your guess is as good as mine.
Guzman is charged with heading a smuggling operation that used torture and murder to crush rivals and brought hundreds of tons of cocaine through Mexico to the United States. After 2 prison escapes in Mexico, he's been held in solitary confinement since being brought here in 2017. The defense claims the case against him was built on the testimony of former Confederates lying to get better treatment. Warren Levinson, New York.
In Boston, The triumphant Super Bowl victory parade is a wrap. Patriots fan Lauren Mills among the estimated close to 1 million people who turned out with a message for Tom Brady.
Go for number 7. He still has how many fingers left? 4 more rings to go, so.
Hundreds of thousands of cheering fans packed the streets to watch the New England Patriots roll through downtown, celebrating their 6th NFL championship. Organizers expected as many as 1 million people to turn out, and security was tight. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 104 points right now. The NASDAQ is up about 120. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you're dating today with all the crazies out there, has to be nuts.
Yes, it really would. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a place you could go to find people who think like you do?
Like me, like libertarians and conservatives?
Right?
There is. WeThePeople.dating.
Amazing. What a genius idea. This is a site that you can go to if you're single and you are looking for somebody who you know you're going to think the same way, as for from a political freedom standpoint. If you want to date the right person for you, you'll find them in one place. WeThePeople.dating.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American made and serve those who serve us, our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com, use promo code DOC, and get 15% off your purchase. That's neverforgottenapparel.com.
All things food service, recipes, and restaurants. Spoony.
Hey folks, this is Chef Patrick Mosher, better known as the Food Biz Pro, here on Spoony Radio. We have shows regarding food, food culture, the restaurant business, consulting services for businesses, startups of all sorts, not just the restaurant industry. We talk about travel, food destinations. It's a lot of food, fun, and family. Mike from the World Food Championships will be coming on, giving us a weekly update on Saturday afternoons on what's new in the world of food sport. Yes, folks, I said food sport. No, it's not where competitors walk into Kitchen Stadium and beat each other to death with a limp fish. It's where you have 2,000 events which lead to the World Food Championships. Join us for the World Food Championship updates every week. Join us on Spoony on the Dash Radio Network, 24/7 Food Talk Radio.
We're not solving all the world's problems, but we're bringing people to the table. Spoony, food and fun. We bring people together. Spoony.
And we're back. Spoony listener Chef Patrick is back in Dallas. And, I don't know. I don't feel like I ever left, I'm not sure I ever leave the studios. I feel like I roam the halls like a spirit in the evening.
Phantom of the Spoony.
Oh, feed me, Seymour. Feed me. Or actually, a better movie. I really love the movie Oliver. And it's the whole...
Please more. May I have another?
Some more. That's my favorite line ever. Great movie. One of my favorite movies as a child. But anyway, man, I don't know where to go after Doc's segment. He's talking about chocolate. Now I'm feeling like a little, I got the diabetic shakes going on. Do I have some orange juice or chocolate around here? Somebody, please, please, before I have a fit, please can I have some chocolate or, Valentine's Day, I know I joke a lot about it being kind of a fake holiday, but it is a huge moneymaker for restaurants and just a lot of industries in general, especially the chocolate industry. So I'm not going to knock them today. I'll knock them when we don't have a guest in here, and I can be kind of a real true jerk, and I'll be nice today, though. But
well, you do have a lovely young lady. Her name's Debbie. Is that right?
You're such a jerk. All right, so actually we have Crystal Larimore in house today, and Crystal, hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
So I'm good, living the dream. I don't know whose dream it is or why I'm in it, but I'm living the dream. We're living, right? Alive and kicking. Is that the one? So, it's been an interesting road to launching Spoony and, of course, our sister channel. And all my business partners were, of course, I'm the food guy, so I didn't get to go. But they were at a recent event out in Vegas, and they ran into you out there. They were at the SHOT Show. And Not shots as in drinking, but, shots as in bang bang. It's a big gun show.
Not that we didn't have any shots.
Yeah, I knowing my partners, I'm sure they did plenty of drinking. But you're with we're going to talk about your restaurant history because you have a long restaurant history.
I do.
And now you do PR, and I know you're involved with many restaurants in that arena. But you are actually you're the executive director, right? Of Wheelchairs for Warriors.
That's it.
Okay.
I am.
So for those of us who don't know, well, I know, but for those of our listeners that are not familiar with Wheelchairs for Warriors, would you give us a brief rundown?
I will. So Wheelchairs for Warriors is a nonprofit organization. It was formed in 2016. We had our big kickoff fundraiser in May of 2018. And so we actually have some money. We have given 3 combat veterans wheelchairs, and our only criteria for giving a wheelchair to a warrior is that they have to have been injured in the line of duty. And we help veterans, first responders, Secret Service agents, whoever needs the help, we help them. So a warrior.
That's pretty awesome. And so since 2016, how many, first responders?
27,
veterans?
yeah, 4.
Only? Joke. It's bad. That's a terrible joke. I'm teasing.
They're very expensive.
They are.
They're not cheap. It's crazy
not.
how expensive these wheelchairs are.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about the one they wheel you out of the hospital in. We're talking about these really high tech, really lightweight. Right. Because a lot of these veterans and injured first responders are they take care of themselves, so they have to be able to get out of the wheelchair, take the wheels off, put it in, and they get in the vehicle themselves and drive themselves if that's their situation.
Right.
And those are really expensive. I mean,
they're pretty expensive. It's crazy. Like, you think about a wheelchair and people say, well, how much is it? It's like, it's how much was your dinner? I mean, you can go spend $2.99 at Dairy Queen, or you can spend $2.99.
Yeah, it could
somewhere.
be $200. It could be several thousand.
It could be, right? So we can build a wheelchair. Base is about $5,000 to $7,000. Is it still a lightweight titanium wheelchair? But we have veterans who can't walk, and their wheelchairs might be $40,000.
That's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but when you think about
that's retail. I mean, that's not retail.
That's cost.
That's like what the vendors give it to us for. Like workman's comp retail, it goes up to $80,000.
I mean, you're talking about you could be that's like the $6 million man stuff. I mean, Steve Austin.
Yes.
No. Do they get sound effects with it?
If you want, for money, you can have. I have figured this out.
I mean, you say it was.
What was that?
I don't know. I think we got a mouse. We have a mouse in the control room. Doc's over there. He's like, hey, what does this do? By the way, thank you, Doc, for running the board for me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Just call me Debbie. That's my nickname.
So he's Debbie Downer.
That's it.
He's Debbie Downer. I wish I had a mute button for. I wish I had a mute button for the control room mic.
You brought me in. Sorry, I was just gonna go.
He was just.
I didn't mean to. I was hoping Ron would run it, but Ron's got another show to run.
He was
right
taking
now.
his toys and going home, and you sucked him back into the vortex.
Wow. So what is the goal for this year?
We're gonna get focused again.
No. What is the goal for this year for Wheelchairs for Warriors?
So the goal this year, our goal is to provide one veteran a month in 2019 with a wheelchair. Our goal in 2020 is hopefully one a week. So we have any idea what that noise is?
I know. I had to do the same thing.
And here's the thing that I really want to get back to this, very expensive $40,000 wheelchair. This wheelchair will take a veteran who is on a mission with his buddies in a war zone, full speed ahead, knocked out of the game, right? Sent to the hospital, goes home. Sometimes they're by themselves. Sometimes they're not doing anything. They can't move. They're not just making noises.
Yeah, modern technology, you got to love it. It goes everywhere.
So we want to put them back in the game, right? We want to put them back in a mission. So we can take a wheelchair, put a veteran in it, and he can stand all the way up.
That's awesome.
He could look at you in the eye. He could do simple things.
So
like get
describe that
coffee out of
wheelchair
it.
to us. How does that happen?
It's a behemoth of a wheelchair. And if you go to wheelchairsforwarriors.com, you can look at our website and you can donate. And
you can say it loud, and you can donate. That's how we can do our part. Actually,
and you can see that this wheelchair they weigh 350 to 500 pounds. A big battery pack. It's like the transformer. It goes up, it lays them flat, it relieves pressure, it keeps them from getting pressure sores, it makes them mobile, and it makes them independent, and it helps them to our hashtag roll strong.
So it's more than a wheelchair. It's more like a mobility device, really, isn't it? I mean, because it's
mobility solutions.
It's multi. What do you call it? Multi position, right?
Yes.
So varying
lays them
position.
flat. Yeah, puts one of our guys. He was in Houston. He said, "This is like the rocket launch." It kind of leans them back in the in the little ghetto lean, and can stand them up. It can set them straight. They can work at their desk.
Awesome.
They can just get back into the game. And
That's
even
fantastic.
if they can't, even if they don't have arms, if they can just breathe, we can design a wheelchair that they can control with a puff of breath, a blink of an eye.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't it crazy?
Technology has come so far. I mean, when you think about like Stephen Hawking blowing into that little tube
Yes.
25 years ago, and then the voice, the voice Fred, right?
Yeah.
That digital voice that we hear on all sorts of devices now was the first voice of Dr. Hawking. But now we think about how much further it's come. Now you can, basically you locate a letter with your eye, and then you blink, and it recognizes what letter you're pointing at.
Yes.
With your eye. It's amazing.
Yes.
And then you can actually type that way, or. I mean, I'm astounded every time I read these kind of stories.
It's crazy. We have a veteran. His name is Justin. Let's see. So it's Justin Fuller, and he is in Lima or Lima. I never can. I love food so much. I want to call it Lima. Might be Lima. I'm not really sure, but anyway, it might be Lima, in Lima, Ohio. And he is a former United States Marine Corps grunt Marine. He was out there in the heat of battle, and he got blown up by an IED. And there's a sign next to his bed that says, Justin can communicate. He can understand everything that you're saying. He laughs. He likes a good joke. And he blinks 1 for yes, 2 for no, and rapid blinking means F you, F you, F you.
Okay, that's really funny.
By the way, in Ohio, that's Lima, Ohio.
Oh,
in Peru, it's Lima.
Thank you.
Okay.
They should put a sign next to every chef in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yes, once means yes, 2 means no, and rapid blinking means yes, yes. Pretty much, yeah. That would save a lot of effort on the chef's part to have to actually speak to people. They'd understand what we're saying, like.
I had a sign in my restaurant that said, "From now on, we're going to F things up my way."
So, all right. Well, I mean, we'll get back to the wheelchairs for warriors in a minute. But how do they find it? How do people find you to contribute to donate to this wonderful cause?
Okay, so you can go to Facebook. You can actually even do a fundraiser when the nice little thing pops up and it says, "Would you like to do a fundraiser for your birthday?" Yes, you would. And you do that fundraiser for Wheelchairs for Warriors. So we are a vetted organization on Facebook. They vetted us. They looked deep into our background. They verified us.
Big check mark.
Big check mark. And also, you can, if you shop on Amazon or Amazon Prime, you can pick Wheelchairs for Warriors as your Amazon Smiles
awesome
account that they round up for charity. And you can go to the website and hit that big red button that says donate.
Donate now.
Or
it's like
you
the easy
can write
button,
a
the now
check.
button.
You can write a check and you can send it to P.O. Box 2911, League City, Texas, 77574.
Do people write checks anymore?
They
I
do.
don't remember the one the last time I wrote a check was.
A corporation that has a ton of money and they want to donate anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 or $500,000. It's just easier to write that check than, put it on a credit card and pay those processing fees.
And you make it out to
Wheelchairs
for Warriors. Is that that's it? Don't have to have anything else? Okay.
That's it.
All right. So you mentioned the restaurant industry, right? You spent a long time in the restaurant industry, like 17 years or so. I'm sorry. I'm paying. I'll pay my respects and condolences at the same time. So 17 years in the restaurant industry. And what was your role? I mean, I know you were an owner of restaurants. How did you start? How did you get started in the restaurant industry?
I was hungry. I was just hungry.
So did you become a server or did you work in the kitchen?
Well, everybody does, right? Through college, everybody's a server, right?
Most people, a lot of people.
I had waited tables at a restaurant in a little town called Texas City, and it was just a lot of fun. Had a blast.
So Texas City, that's down there, pretty close to League City, where you're
way
at
down south. Had cash all the time. Then I got into corporate America and went to college. did the corporate gig and
Real
kept
job
thinking,
thing.
I kept thinking, I think I made more money per hour being a server. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but there's some, if you're a good server, you can make good money.
You can, and you don't have to work at a really expensive restaurant. You can still make good money.
It is a legitimate job.
Well, that's a misunderstanding, I think. A common misperception in the United States is we don't see the service industry as a full-time, long-term professional move. We don't. There are very few professional servers. We see it as a very transient position. And I think...
disposable.
It is.
And your parents are like, go get a real job.
Exactly. Well, it's like, well, my real job pays 34, this pays 48, and I don't have to claim it all. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Did we say that
Did I say that out loud? But that's really...
You did not mean that. We claim everything.
It's a cat... Well, and they have an algorithm now that they can look at your restaurant sales versus cash versus... and they... it's very interesting. You'd be surprised. The IRS comes knocking on the door and says, "Hey, Mr. Mosher, by the way, your cash receipts versus credit card receipts are very skewed, which is fine. Yeah, it's typically very heavy on the credit card side, but for some reason your servers are not reflecting that in their tips. Could you give me some insight into that?" I'm like, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. But feel free to look at my books.
They're terrible servers. They just don't ever get any tips. I don't know why I've kept them for 5 years.
I have like a 90% turnover weekly.
Yeah,
no, it's
exactly right.
But they do have ways to check that now.
I know.
And we, as an owner and manager, you had a minimum percentage of sales that you had to claim because at least you're within the guidelines then. And I can't force you to tell me what your cash sales were and what your cash tips were. I can't pull the money from your pocket and say, count it for me. I want to see. I don't know how much cash you walked in with. So you have your own bank and there's nothing I can do.
There's a very famous restaurant chain. It's a chain, but it's still privately owned by family. And they were one of my big mentors in the restaurant business because he had a weekend house. I was on Lake Livingston. And so this guy had a weekend house and he would come into my restaurant and eat, and it would make me nervous and my palms sweaty because I knew who he was, and he would go, "Oh, this is great. No, everything was fine, and he would tell me the story in the heyday when they had cash everywhere and they were piling it. They had it in bags and the ceiling tiles and they were hiding it from the government, and they'd be counting all this cash. And
they weren't in the restaurant industry, were they?
Yeah, they were. They were totally. It was totally restaurant industry, but it was so much cash way back in the day when they first started.
Yeah,
and they were trying
very
to hide
few credit cards.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't all the credit card things and the debit cards, and they were just hiding piles of cash inside the restaurant.
I want to know what kind of food were they selling and what was it laced with? Because
really good food and bar. If I told you the name, you would go, aha.
No, well, are they Houston based?
New York based.
Okay, gotcha.
It doesn't mean that they were in the mob.
Oh, no, of course not. No,
of course not.
No, of course not. I never insinuated that. No, so for a lot of, I'm going to let it, this is an old industry baseline, really, and it's true. Most restaurants, back in the day when you had a lot of cash sales, your cash sales went unrecorded. That was basically your lifeline, right? When it was more like a 50-50 mix, credit cards to cash. Not all of them, but a lot went unrecorded. And it really was. It's how the family lived because, again, we've gone over these numbers a lot of times on the show. I know you haven't, but
thin margins.
The average restaurant makes this is chains and everyone included. They may make 15 to 20%. The average independent may make lower, but average gross pre-tax is 7%. That's your profit. And by the time you pay taxes, so on and so forth, you're looking at 4% basically. So 4 cents of every dollar. So if you sell $1 million in hamburgers, the possibility is a real possibility. If you're hamburgers have a slightly higher margin, but on average, 40 grand. So you don't have to, but in order to survive, you can either just eat at the restaurant and write all that food off as an expense and have the benefit to the family, which you typically do even with that tiny margin, or you can hide the cash, live off that, and then take what pittance you get at the end of the year, which is 4%. And that was pretty typical. Cash sales became the lifeline of the owner.
And you think about a small restaurant like my restaurant, once we got our liquor license, we would start running a couple $100,000 a year, but that was it. And you think about
that's straight vodka, by the way.
Is that straight vodka?
I got to deal with Doc.
Awesome.
No,
I left mine in the conference room to be nice.
It's just water. Your vodka or your water? No, I talk about drinking. People are going to think I'm like an alcoholic. I don't drink that much.
I do wonder if Blake Shelton is really drinking or not. So they've done that thing really well on The Voice.
Well, do you think Paula Abdul was drinking when she was with what was she doing? Remember?
Yes.
Can you blame her? I mean, it is Hollywood.
It's Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Yes, she was doing something.
So I lived in Hollywood for quite a while, and I lived in the Valley, and it's like California is such a beautiful place. I have to tell you, it's
beautiful.
aesthetically the most dramatic, beautiful coastline.
Yeah.
It's not as rugged as when you get up into Northern California, but it's a beautiful state, right?
I'll be there Friday.
But I still have to call it the land of fruits and nuts.
Oh yeah.
It's difficult to get work done there because everybody just has to be so extravagantly unique, and it's more about the story than the actual substance sometimes.
Right.
Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Great food, though. Great food.
So I moved to the lake. I found a house.
And Lake Livingston is north of Houston.
Is north, yeah. It's north of Houston, north of Kingwood, Texas. All that. It's beautiful. It's the piney woods. And I found this house. My mother had moved there in this really nice community, and so I thought, I want to live here. And I found this great house, and I got all moved in, and I went to town to get something to eat for dinner one night and a glass of wine, and it was black in town, dark. All the lights were out, and it was like 7 p.m. It was like, oh, what's happening? I thought there was something, the lights were out.
A blackout or something?
Blackout. My mother's like, what did you, no, you can't. I said, but we've been
no
eating.
Food after 5 p.m.
My mother's like, why do you think I cook for you every time you come up here? I'm like, somebody should have told me about the food situation before I bought this house and moved in and sold my place in Houston. And so anyways, there was nothing to eat, and I was driving to Houston to get food.
And that's not a short drive, by the way.
It's 45 minutes to an hour. Or I was driving to the Woodlands to get food. And there wasn't even a decent grocery store. It took me an hour to get to a good
Piggly
grocery
Wiggly,
store.
no nothing.
Nothing. They didn't even know how to spell cilantro. It was crazy. They're looking at me like,
Sulantro.
what spring mix? It was bad.
I just write it down as grass.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to pick on people in Houston? Look, I love you, Houston. All my friends in Houston, I love you.
It's just amazing.
What's the deal with polk salad? You grew up in the area, right? polk salad. Okay, and I've said this before.
It's greens. What do you mean?
It's wild greens, but you got to boil that thing 5 times before it makes you sick. You got to boil it and drain it, boil it and drain it, boil it and drain it, because otherwise you get you're running to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you are running. But what I have this a serious question for you, and we'll get back to the restaurants in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell thinks this stuff up? Like, who ate blowfish and died, and they watched him die and said, "Hey, I'll try next." How many people did they go through before they realized that this is either completely inedible, or you have to only prepare it this way?
The turnip.
What's wrong with the turnip?
Who found it?
Huh?
Who found the turnip?
Well, I mean, I don't know. You watched a rabbit eat it, and they pulled it up and said, "Hey, maybe we can eat this too." They couldn't catch the rabbit, but they could certainly catch the turnip.
Yeah. But
that's okay.
But those are things. It's the same thing with the greens or chocolate. Chocolate. Let's go back to chocolate. Somebody shook a cocoa tree.
and that big ass thing fell down and knocked him out, and it broke open, and somebody said, "Hey, we can eat that thing inside." Licked it and said, "This is kind of bitter and
this is kind of bitter." They gave it to the Americans. We added sugar. Bam! We had a hit on.
We were not Americans at that time. I think we were Europeans. But
anyway, we added. The Europeans added the sugar. The French weren't smart enough to add the sugar.
This is like drunk history, but not drunk. So we just had the drunk history of cacao, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. Fridays after I get off I do the Brew for Breakfast mornings on the other show. I'm just going to continue drinking. And when I come on my show at 2 Central, I'm going to do drunk history of food.
Okay.
And I don't know what I'm going to think of, but we're going to do the drunk history of, you know what?
We're on to something.
Segment.
We are on to something. I want half of whatever you bring in.
Well, you can have half. I can give you half of what we're bringing in right now. Yeah. That'd be a negative $48.76 a week. Thank you. Could you write a check for half of that?
I can. Actually, I really can. I can afford that.
I'm glad you can. So, yeah, I mean, I always wonder about that. Who thought, okay, I'm going to look, this looks like an edible green. I'm going to pick it. I'm going to try it. And, okay, well, it made me deathly ill. So, look, I'm gonna boil it for about like an hour, and then I'm gonna rinse it off. I'm gonna drain it, and I'm gonna try it again. Well, that wasn't quite as bad, but I got really sick still. Let me try it again. The hell were they thinking?
Okay, so I have another.
You must have been starving.
What is the real name of Chilean sea bass?
Oh, that's like what's something toothfish?
Yeah.
It's
It's
what is it called?
It's something toothfish, right? Who cares? The other part, it's toothfish.
Now,
so they couldn't sell toothfish. I mean,
we're
going to
talk about
it.
Yeah, go ahead.
You couldn't go in a restaurant on the menu and who's ordering toothfish, and they're like, "Oh, we found this really nice."
I can't,
you have
really
to do
can't
it.
remember this.
We have found this really nice, flaky white fish. We no longer have to just eat cod. Okay, now we have the toothfish, the Panamanian,
Patagonian toothfish. Yeah.
Patagonia toothfish. Sales.
I didn't even. I never got to look it up. I couldn't even get the computer open. But yeah, Patagonian toothfish, which a lot of people are going to have on their Valentine's Day menu, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's now Chilean sea bass. Voila!
I know.
Sales are through the roof.
Well, so that probably that started a long time ago, and I have to tell you, one of the most brilliant marketing ploys of all time, really quickly, is when they went from they had Sauvignon Blanc, all right, and they named it Fumé Blanc because they couldn't sell Sauvignon Blanc in this country, but they saw the fog rolling over the hills in Northern California, and they're like, it's smoky Fumé. Fumé Blanc was born, and man, sales went through the roof, and a star was born, basically.
I just call it white wine.
White wine. Could I get that white wine looking pink, please, though? Blush, can you call it blush? Can I get some pink white wine over here? All right.
Why they call it white when it's yellow?
You know, it is actually should. You know, you're right. That's a good call. I don't know if you're going to stay the second half of the hour, but if not,
I can?
yeah, absolutely, yeah, okay. Because I don't want to rush you. I want to give some more attention to the Wheelchairs for Warriors and this kind of a fun conversation. So back to the wine. I'm telling you, and I was recently at a food show and I saw that particular vendor and I lit up because it's not the quality of their wine so much as they changed the industry. They took an unmarketable, unpalatable product to the American palate, and they found a way to make it really consumer friendly, and they gave this some exotic name, which meant nothing. It was smoky. I mean,
did you see the Shark Tank episode where they have the front label wine or whatever that's called? Easy label, front label. You may have to look it up again. So on the front of the wine,
it's not $2 Chuck, is it?
No, it's not. It's not $2 Chuck. So on the front of the wine, it's just a white label, and it says Cabernet, bold and fruity. And then it has a couple of other little things, but it's right there on the front of the wine.
It's
so you can say
it's literal white label wine.
White label, and it's called like front label wine or something. But they explain everything right on the front.
All right, so I have a great trademark that we're gonna do here. If all right, we'll get back. I have a great idea, and we're gonna tell it on the air. Hopefully, nobody will trademark it before we do. But so anyway, we're here with our lovely friend Crystal, right, from Wheelchair for Warriors. You are listening to the Food Biz Pro Show here on Spoony Radio. It's so good to be back and on the air. Anyway, we got a quick break here. Doc on the board in there. Thank you very much, Doc, for operating
down the jam.
He's awesome.
He is, isn't he? How do I get this? And he gets like this badass entry. I get like the smooth.
Because you're smooth.
He has a saucy voice.
Yeah. Barry White coming back at you in 2 minutes. Yeah.
Oh my God. We just had a little bit of ADD right.
It looks like you're dating today with all the crazies out there. Has to be nuts.
Yes, it really would. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a place you could go to find people who think like you do?
Like me, like libertarians and conservatives.
Right?
There is WeThePeople.dating.
Amazing. What a genius idea. This is a site that you can go to if you're single and you are looking for somebody who you know you're going to think the same way as for from a political freedom standpoint. If you want to date the right person for you, you'll find them in one place. WeThePeople.dating.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A, Thrive.com. Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out NeverForgottenApparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
No worries. That's okay. Yeah, I think. So we're not hearing the music fire in between. It happened to me last segment when I was with Doc. I was freaking out too. There we go. Hey, there we go. Perfect. Yeah. I don't know. We're in early though. We're back. What the hell? It's fun. It's Friday. It's only Tuesday. It's always Friday. Anyway. I
was like, oh no, I'm supposed to be in California on Friday.
Yeah, no, I just say it's. You know what?
Friday
it's
a lot
always
today.
it's always Monday morning to me. People are like, how are you in such a good mood? Stuff's hitting the fan, and nobody showed up for work today. I'm like, you know what? I just wake up every day, or I go to bed every night thinking
it's the restaurant industry.
It's Monday morning, right? So things are going to go wrong. People are not going to show. Products not going to arrive. The guests are going to be in a bad mood. But we're going to have technical difficulties. It's always Monday morning. If you keep that mindset, it makes it easier to manage. Makes it easier to manage things. That's all.
In the restaurant industry, for me, it was always people would say, "What is your busiest night?" When I'm understaffed. But I mean, I could have all the staff in the world, and 50 tables, and I could have 2 people not show up and 150 tables.
Well, the most important person in a restaurant, right? The most important position.
Me.
No, and it's not me either. It's not the chef. It's not the general manager.
That's what they think.
Honestly, the most important person is the dishwasher. Because the first time you have no dishwasher show up, and you as the chef, general manager, or whatever, back there scrubbing dishes for 16 hours once the shift is done. Not to mention you have servers waiting to run clean dishes as you hand wash them and rinse them back to the service line so they can plate the food to be taken to a table. Yeah. The dishwasher is your friend.
Yeah. Since I had never owned or started a restaurant or really basically cooked when I started my restaurant, and praise God, I had somebody walk in who was a chef who said, "Oh, come here, little girl, let me help you."
Creep me out. Hey, no. Yeah. It's like Doc's like, "Hey, little boy, come here," or little man, little man. He is Big Spoon.
So we all washed our own dishes in the sink. And we'd let them pile up. We'd wash them. And then finally, some guy from Cisco who owned a lake house out by me said,
Wait. Stop. Back, rewind.
We didn't have a dishwasher.
Where was this?
Cold Spring, Texas.
Okay, I know where Cold Spring is.
Yep, right on the courthouse square.
So every server washed their own dishes?
No. In Cold Springs, everyone just eats off the floor. So
I was thinking did the guest come back and wash their own dishes?
Well, sometimes.
You know what? That would be a good thing. Hey, look, if you load the dishwasher, we give you 15% discount.
You're onto something. You just got to market it like you said earlier.
That's
and what
right,
do you
we're
call
onto
it?
Something.
Restaurant Fantasy Camp. Dishwasher Fantasy Camp.
Restaurant owner. You want to be a restaurant owner? We will send you to restaurant owner camp. This is what you do. You are
just got to call it fantasy camp.
I'm not sure owning a restaurant is a fantasy anything.
It is a fantasy, and then when you do it, it's a nightmare.
It's a fallacy. No, look, owning a restaurant, owning any business is extremely rewarding in the sense that you have this pride of ownership, and but there are few businesses which require the mental strength, the intestinal fortitude, the endurance, the strength, the stamina, just the will to survive.
To not kill someone. The sheer...
not to just survive, but not to take someone else's life.
Because there are knives readily available. And they're good, sharp, pointy knives.
They should be.
They're everywhere. And you're looking at a customer thinking, that knife's not that far away. And you're looking at your staff going, I'm holding the knife. Like, it's in my... It's so I could just... And if you haven't thought about stabbing someone with a really good chef's knife, you've not been working in a restaurant kitchen.
I will not admit to that on air, but if you're viewing,
yeah, right.
I have never acted. I had a chef throw a knife at my head one time. It bounced off the wall a couple feet away. Thank God he was a bad aim.
I threw a pan that was on fire across my kitchen, and it hit a wall. And the sous chef that was standing there was like, he looked at me. He goes, "So am I fired?"
So am I fired?
And I was like, you caught all of the steaks in the oven and the broiler on fire. They're on fire so bad, the fire's licking up onto the pan on top of it and has killed my red snapper. So you've killed $250 worth of food right there. Thank you.
Well, so there's a good point though. You didn't just kill the sales value of the food. you also lost the cost of the food.
You
right?
lost everything.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just the $200 retail
You
price.
kept your life. By the grace of God. There were so many moments like
So I did like the biggest faux pas you can do, walk into the row, second biggest, but fly open, number one, you walk in the live camera. Number two is that I came in with gum in my mouth, you know? So.
Oh,
it's
just
gone.
now. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not going to stick it under the table, but
Oh,
hey.
but we should. That would be the fun part of the restaurant.
It's Simpsons Cake in a Can. By the way, this is our new sponsor. Unofficial, they don't pay us. But Simpsons Cake in a Can.
Does it say Spotted Dick?
It does say Spotted Dick Sponge. Do you know what Spotted Dick is? It's not an affliction.
I'm
it's
not
a
going
cake.
to admit to that on the air.
It's a cake. It's a cake. All right. So one of our listeners sent us an entire, pretty much a case. There were like 10 cans of this lovely.
Have you eaten a Spotted Dick?
I have had this particular dessert. Doc.
By the way, it's real and it's spectacular.
And I don't know why I opened this can of worms or cake, we shall say. But it's actually a very unique English pudding, which means really not pudding. It's a bready type thing in English. It's baked like pumpkin cake with raisins. I know. I'm going to stop right there. So back to all right, we have no unofficial sponsors, nor do we have, I'm never going to bring that up again. Those cans are going bye-bye. We're going to eat them for dinner tonight and they're gone. So, yes, the whole lot of dessert in a can. That's all we're going to say. All right. So we did talk about, I have a brand, right? We talked about the whole rebranding of Sauvignon Blanc to be Sexy Fumé Blanc, where they made a bunch of money. I really have people are like, hey, what's your alternative plan? What's your backup? Backup. I don't have backup, man. It's the Spoony lives or we die. I mean, there is the Spoony must go on. Spoony must prosper. Spoony must make money. So sponsors, call us. We're fun. We're at least interesting and fairly good looking. And we know a lot about food as far as you know. So I really had a great. Are
you sure you want to share it? Because somebody out there with a lot of money could take your idea.
Like I'm going to have the time to do this anyway. But hey, if you'd like to partner, I'm the face of this concept.
It's on the air, so we have proof that it's his idea.
Yes,
by the way.
This is like the whole you write it down in an envelope and you send it to.
We're copywriting his idea.
I would like to trademark it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So a friend of mine in Colorado said, hey, so what's your backup plan? I said, backup plan? He goes, yeah, what's plan B? I said, plan B is the bottle. Boom, light went off. So plan B spirits. You have a bourbon, a scotch, a vodka probably being the most popular, and then gin, right? Mm-hmm. And it's plan B. And the tagline is, when plan A doesn't work out, there is always plan B.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
You may run into marketing trouble for the contraceptive, the Plan B pill.
I think if you drank enough alcohol, didn't that work the same way, possibly?
We're not actually, have a marketing problem.
It's actually a perfect juxtaposition because too much alcohol leads to pregnancy. The Plan B pill actually. Okay, so I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to
be a lot of
all.
marketing. That's going to be good. I like it. I like Plan B.
I have a lot of a really good friend of mine from Houston. He was in the restaurant industry for a long time. Brett. We were like the Brothers Grimm of half-baked plans. Mm-hmm. We always had some great concept, but we never brought it to fruition because before we could even act on it, we would plan. No, we'd come up with a new plan. So it wasn't even half-baked. It wasn't even usually, rolled up, cut, and put in the pan to put in the oven and never made it to the oven. Yeah. So
my partner, Sean Dominguez, we're the same. That's how we came up with Two Restaurant Snobs. And we came up with something else. It's like Two Restaurant Snobs is at least that stuck.
Yeah.
But we're always.
So you and your friend, Sean. Uh-huh. Okay. Two Restaurant Snobs.
Yes. Because we are.
It's funny because you have a logo. Do you have you have a Facebook page or website?
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you do some Facebook Live stuff once in a while or videos. Yeah. Now, it's supposed to be a podcast, but you've never launched the podcast?
We've never launched it.
Okay, well, I gave you an equipment list.
You did?
Yeah. You have
We're onto something.
You have a platform.
We're onto something else.
You have a platform. So,
we do.
Yeah. Well,
it was
Spoony Radio.
I know this was so, when I ran into these guys at SHOT Show, I was there for Wheelchairs for Warriors, and we started talking, and then they said food, which I'm a huge foodie, 17 years in the restaurant business makes you an expert at all things restaurant related. I've earned my badge, the E. I've earned my scarlet letter.
Here, you can take your E and hold it right there.
Oh,
Okay. The E from Spoon, E. There you go. You've earned your E.
Just saying.
You've earned your E for excellence.
Excellence and expert. So anyway, so she and I were, and listen, my restaurant was high end in a low end town. I was a high end restaurant in a low end town. And on the weekends, we were open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we had Opus One wine. We had all, Silver Oak. We had
Opus One.
We did. We had it. We had Camus, Jordan. Yum.
I miss those big cabs from the 90s, man. 94, 95, 96 Jordan Cabernet.
So yum. So good. And we had really great food. It was a scratch kitchen. Everything was great.
You
Help
can get
was hard to find.
You can get eczema treated when it's a scratch kitchen. You know that?
I know when it's a scratch kitchen. I love that new word. It wasn't around when I was like, I mean, it wasn't
home cooking.
It wasn't. We said, everything is from scratch, but it wasn't really, like hashtag scratch kitchen now. It's like it's a big thing. Back in the day in 2001 when I started my restaurant. But so anyway, so I moved. I sold my restaurant. That's the sign of success. As soon as you sell it.
Is that the sign of success or freedom?
All of that. Oh my gosh.
I feel like Dave Ramsey. You should come in here the day you sell your restaurant. Come on in. We'll yell freedom together. Freedom.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was just, it was amazing. So anyway, so sold the restaurant, and I've had a marketing company for a long time. So doing that and hanging out, and go back down to Galveston County where I'm from, and going out with all my girlfriends. We're all reacquainting, and we're going to these great restaurants, and there's so many, whereas I just had one for 17 years and it was mine. And there's all these, I was in food heaven. Wine hell and food heaven. If I was lucky enough to find a bottle of 14 Hands Cabernet in a restaurant, it would just be glorious. And then they would bring it to me. Room temperature. In Seabrook, Texas. It's hot.
And we're talking big. So just think like Houston in general, Houston, New Orleans, Miami. Hot. It's hot and humid all the time.
Well, aren't you supposed to serve a Cabernet at room temperature?
In Northern California, where it's 48 degrees outside and 54 degrees in the wine cellar. Basically.
That room temperature. You there's a cooler right there
Cellar
with beer in it. Just stick it in there, please. And then, and it's okay. It's okay if you put an ice cube in a glass of 14 Hands. It's just okay. And it would just melt as soon as the ice cube would go in there. But you go somewhere else and you get a glass.
Did you really say it's okay to put an ice cube in a glass of even 14 Hands?
Even 14 Hands. You just have to draw the line somewhere when you're in Texas and they're serving you hot wine. You can't drink it. You can't. Tell me, really, what would you do?
That's a good question. What do you do? Okay, I gotta earn my E now. I have to earn my E by answering this question. You should only be able to speak when you're holding the E, right? Or only be able to speak when you're holding the E. Okay, I have the baton now. Everybody be quiet. Be quiet. I'm going to talk through the puppet. Okay, the hand is going to talk now. So how would you, what would I do? What would I do in that situation? I would probably just drink it and suffer and say, could I get a cold beer, please? Could I get a beer?
No, I'm putting an ice cube in.
Okay, no, I'm not going to say anything negative about 14 Hands. So there you go.
I mean, it's not like you're putting an ice cube in a glass of Jordan. But if you hand me a warm glass of Jordan, I still have to put an ice cube in it. It is sinful. These people are making
I'm sorry,
me
folks.
sin.
Spoony Radio we're gonna wrap up a little early today. I'm sorry. We really we did have a guest today, but someone said something about ice cube in Jordan Cabernet. I think at that point you just say, look, this wine is really warm. I'm not going to drink it. I'm sorry. It should be a little cooler. If you could chill that down a bit for me.
They're not going to know. They don't even know to put a bottle of wine in a cooler. So 2 Restaurant Snobs was born because she says, you're a snob. And I was like, it's good wine. It needs to be, and then they brought me a glass of ice water because at least the ice water was cold and they didn't have a cocktail napkin under it. And I almost just lost my mind. It's like, hot wine, no cocktail napkin. I'm just hyperventilating. It's crazy. Like, don't do that to me all in one sitting.
Your pet peeve, your biggest pet peeve. Is that when there's a glass with ice and liquid in it and it's sweating on the outside that they don't bring you a cocktail napkin.
That's right, because the condensation's going to come down and it's going to land on the table.
What do you care?
And then my Rolex watch is going to get wet. No, not really.
Oh, well, my Cartier might get wet.
That's
Or
what I have.
My Dunhill might get wet.
Okay, that's crazy. That's a crazy pet peeve.
No, it's not a crazy pet peeve because if you put your arm down, then your arm is wet. It leaks over if you have paperwork, if you're trying to hold a meeting, and you're in Texas. Wait, we went over this earlier. Cocktail napkins are half a cent for 10. Give me my cocktail napkin.
Even if it's a penny a piece, it's a penny.
Even.
Yeah, give me a couple.
I would like to have a cocktail
It just seems so unnecessary. I don't care about cocktail
Are these not first world problems?
They are. Fortunately, I have no pet peeves in restaurant. I'm easy-go.
Okay. So wait. Did you notice
Cocktail
that just trailed off a little bit? So
He did trail off a little bit.
Doc, what's your pet peeve? Because yours also has to do with the glass. Yours also has to do with the glass.
What are you talking about?
Come on, man. Spill the beans, brother.
I don't know what you're
Change
talking
that
about.
grease at least once a week.
What do you mean?
Come on. Spill the beans.
I find a certain level of displeasure when my water glass is empty and I've asked for it. Even
Do you
initially,
start slurping through the straw?
Even at telling the waiter or waitress at the beginning, listen, I'm going to need a lot of water, so either bring a pitcher or like 3 glasses, and they don't. I mean, I find a certain level of discomfort in that.
And you're setting them up for success.
When Doc goes to a restaurant, he's like a camel with a slumped hump, that needs to fill it up with water. He drinks an a huge amount of water.
And I warn them.
What's the one where the customer shakes their glass because they need it full, so they're talking to you and you walk by and they shake the glass? Oh, Lord have mercy! I will ignore that.
As you're saying
customer.
that, actually, you're shaking here. One of our new sponsors, Atrantil, and I have to tell you, I've started
that was
taking
not planned.
this. No, but that was perfect timing because I have not yet done a promo. But Atrantil is it's actually meant for bloating and abdominal discomfort. But I'll tell you what, I've actually lost weight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Actually,
and Doc noticed. Doc's.
Yeah, I've started taking it as well. It's about gut health in general. It's not just the IBS or other stuff. It is a whole other level of science, and it's kind of difficult to explain because there's so much going on. It's gut health in general.
Yep. And basically, it's a prebiotic formula which creates a healthy environment for all those wonderful probiotics that people take and consume to thrive and create a better environment to digest and ingest food. So anyway, Atrantil, just call it the big A. You can go to the website and find it. It is Atrantil, Atrantil, or it's the website is lovemytummy.com.
/Spoony.
Awesome.
Yes, /Spoony. Yes, to get your discount.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's actually really good. They actually, Dr. Ken and his team, Eric, and the rest of the crew are working on some other top secret items, one of which I have a true passion for. If you've listened, you probably know. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag because we'll let him do the big launch in a month or two when they come out with that product.
Perfect for after you eat those greens.
Yeah, it's actually so people have IBS or Crohn's disease or other syndromes. Now, I can't make any medical claims, but there can be some very, very positive benefits for those people.
That's awesome.
Which is funny because in Canada, they have to tell what it's for. So they say specifically IBS and Crohn's disease.
Oh. Huh.
But we can't say that in the US. So, yeah. Anyway, so back to pet peeves in restaurants.
Yeah.
It's the only one I have, and it's like I said, it's not even a real thing. It's so light. I'm so easygoing.
Yeah, no.
Water! Or
bring me the hose.
Or let's just say, when you say you need a refill and they take the glass and go fill it up rather than bring you a new glass or just bring a pitcher over. I mean, that's something that, could trigger me.
What about if your tea is perfectly sweetened with the lemon and then they pour tea in it and they didn't bring you?
They don't ask.
It's like, I have shot my hand across the glass so fast, like the just went everywhere.
Or when you're asking
they pour
for
it over the top of your hand.
When you're asking for a condiment or something because you can't, actually eat it until they bring the ketchup, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and then finally you reluctantly just start eating without it, and then they bring it over towards the end of the meal, and that could be something that would trigger me, and I'd start yelling at
the
people.
fries are cold and greasy.
Or when they come over and ask you ridiculous questions like, "Hey, have you dined with us before?" And they really have no reason for asking that, because if you say no, they go, "Oh, well, welcome," and if you say yes, they just say, "Oh, well, welcome back." Nonsense like that could really set me off at the restaurant.
Yeah, they could.
Angry Doc maybe rearing his ugly head.
My order could have been in 2 seconds earlier had you not asked me that dumb question.
I'm just really glad that Doc has no pet peeves in restaurants.
I know none.
Yeah, none.
I'm easy.
No significance.
Super easy. And yours? What is
what I
yours?
find interesting is that all of ours have to do our biggest pet peeves have to do with glassware, right?
Yeah.
So I have two. One of which Doc kind of touched on. So when you are in a restaurant and I'm gonna say them out, Buffalo Wild Wings, take note. especially the one in Tomball, Texas. I haven't been there in a while, but used to go with,
And we're going to tell you why he hasn't been there in a while.
Well, because I live here. So, but here's
That was the wrong answer.
yeah. Well, actually, here's part of it. When you're having a fountain drink, right? And they say, "Would you like a refill?" Yes, I would like a refill. Well, don't take my glass to the fountain and fill it because I don't always use the straw that's in the glass. My mouth has probably touched the glass at some point in time. If not my mouth, then my hands have touched the top of the glass. Now they're going to go over there and they're going to push it against that little thing that, the dispenser button. They're going to push it against there, that arm, and new fresh soda is going to come out. The straw may be swirling around in there. Who knows? But basically my tongue just licked the dispenser arm. Don't do that. It's not so much that I'm in fear of catching someone else's disease or getting their
some
germs.
Germs in your body.
I got plenty. Trust me. I have 20. I have plenty.
20.
I'm not too proud to pick up. I'm 20 million. Yeah, 20 billion. I don't know. I'm not too proud to pick up French fry dropped on the ground, and there's no 5-second rule. It might be 12 seconds.
Well, no, and from my perspective as well, as a customer, when I sit there and they take the glass and I know they're going to fill it up that way, I'm not a germaphobe. Nope. I don't care. But I think of it more from the restaurant side, having worked in restaurants.
It's a safety issue.
It is safety, but it's just not how you operate on that side of the aisle. You just don't do those things.
There's a true, not just, you're talking now, the soda's going to splash out the side, right? It's going to splash, microscopic droplets splash out. Now, from a cross-contamination standpoint and, foodborne illness standpoint, that's a big concern. You might not believe it, but if I went to the bathroom, didn't wash my hands, and I have some, intestinal disorder, that's now on the outside of the glass. And you've touched the glass, and now you've touched the dispenser arm, and my glass has touched the dispenser. It's crazy how easy it is for a foodborne illness to be widespread, not just in your restaurant, but then go to others.
I just thought of something else, and I've only discovered this pet peeve recently because it's kind of broad. That when I go to a restaurant, a lot of times, you go there for a lot of different reasons. Some is just, I just need a meal. Some is it's more of an event, right? If I go there with friends, my wife, whatever, it's usually after a long day and I'm wanting to relax, get something to eat. It's about the experience overall. And I realized quite often when I go there, they just cause me more stress. And Patrick and I have talked about this.
I should have just had a PB&J.
Right. From the second you pull into the drive in the parking lot, it should be problems are solved for you. How many times you walk in and then you've got the hostess or host that's there and, let me look around. And they're asking you questions instead of just, let me take care of that for you.
I've been answering questions all day long. You answer my questions.
Right. Now, obviously you want it the way you want it, and that's fine, but there's a way to do it. And then when you sit down, there's a menu with 40,000 things on it. I don't know. And it's all like almost being confrontational with you as opposed to, let me take care of that for you, sir. How about this? Is that okay? Would that be all right?
You look a little, do you like beef or chicken? Beef or chicken?
Yeah. We had some great things. Let me tell you about them. Let me help you out. Is there something? It's like that. And it's just this mindset that they're not in. And I think it's because of these mass-produced chain restaurants now.
Yeah. What was the restaurant right next to the Palm that had 2 menu items? He's still there. There was a big, it's a tiny, shotgun restaurant. Red Adair was in there all the time when we were in there. And the chef walked out and he had 2 or 3 things.
That was it.
Fortune. It was a fortune to eat there. Well,
I'll look it up here since it's in Houston.
So we would go there and eat once in a blue moon. It was ridiculously expensive.
It was good though.
But it was amazing. Small bar, 1 row of a booth with tables, and then some tables over here. It was really small, and he had duck and pork chops, and this is.
I think that was pretty much it. You're right. What was the name of that? Man, I've been there.
Started with an F.
I don't speak any about
I've got fumet in my mind now.
No, I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, I'm looking at some of the other things.
So that was one of those really nice experiences.
Brennan's popped up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hungry for anything from Brennan's
right
gosh.
Now. Anything.
The Brennan family, unbelievable. All right.
Unbelievable.
So my other pet peeve is that when you bring me a glass of water at the table, I'm gonna pretend this is an actual glass and not a canister of. It's just water, folks. It's water. I need to hydrate. All right. You bring my glass to the table. There you are, sir. There's your water. No, that's not my water, sir. Now it's yours because your hands
touching the rim.
Which Yep.
What about the lipstick, the lip print still on the glass from someone else?
Yeah.
It's like you've
you know what,
had
to be
an
honest with you,
opportunity.
it doesn't really bother me much. I just kind of wipe it off and go because I know that, you've got, no, I'm serious. There's been a million people do that. It went through the dishwasher. It caked on there. Not everybody sees it and has time to wipe it off with it. I get it.
And it has been sterilized.
I'm not saying it's not freaking... It's not acceptable, but I'm not about to wait to drink my wine until you come back with another glass because it's going to be warm anyway. So I'm just not going to put it in the tip. You're going to see it at the end. I'm probably going to tell you about it too. Oh, by the way, a couple things that failed.
Yeah,
I do that all, and I went so far as to tell a local restaurant chain that I have to tell you I have a radio show on a national platform that. I'm probably going to tell my listening audience how bad this experience was. And we talked about it because Doc went to another location here in Dallas on another day.
Amazing failures.
Thanksgiving.
Spectacularly interesting failures.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
We'll get back to knocking them another day.
So the two restaurant snobs, Sean and Crystal, we were going to try to keep it a secret, but we're so
I let it out.
vocal
I'm sorry.
that it's not a secret anymore, that it's us.
Yep.
We were trying to keep it a secret because we didn't want anybody to get upset.
Real quick.
But we say you've been snobbed.
That's the thing. I like that. So you're going to leave them a card?
Yeah.
And is it a pass or fail card?
Yes.
Like a thumbs up, thumbs down?
Stamp it. Don't you think that's a good idea?
That's
We're just
awesome.
going to make postcards that say
I think it's a
fail
green.
or
I think it
pass.
should be a green one with a thumbs up or a red one with a thumbs down.
Yeah.
I love it.
And we're going to do hashtag you've been snobbed. And then we're going to go talk about it.
And then you can have them actually call into the show or to you.
Them who? The restaurant owner? Or the restaurant?
Have them call and discuss
Pass
it.
or fail?
Discuss it. Say, here's what you
Pass
could have
or
done.
fail, they could call in.
All right, so I'm going to go back to my pet peeve. My half of the glass, your half of the glass.
Yeah, that's
Server,
a good point.
my half, your half. Here you are, sir.
Yes.
Here you are, ma'am. Oh, let me clear that. Even when you're clearing, don't do that and don't put your thumb inside the glass. It's gross.
This is not a pet peeve, but I just find it silly when they leave half of the straw paper on.
Oh.
That's
kind of
silly to me.
But that's big government.
I got to give a shout out and thanks to Tom and Terry. I stayed at one of our partners, Tom's house last night, and we have this cool diner setting that Brad Staggs has built here for us. This beautiful diner setting, and Tom and Terry found this awesome old Chevy Bel Air that actually has all the bits and pieces that open and close. And I have to tell you, they are showing their love here by giving me this classic piece of American
that is awesome
history, and we're going to find a special place to put this in here. I keep asking for bookshelves to put the bookshelves up. Brad, I know you're getting to it. I'm not giving you a hard time, but I think we're going to have a special shelf for that. And I think as time goes on, I will start collecting pieces like this, these old American cars of that era, that back when things were built to last.
Just for now, put it next to the Spotted Dick.
There we go. It has a place right there, center stage. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Tom and Jerry. Crystal, thanks for coming in today.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. It's been really fun. Okay, one last plug for
wheelchairsforwarriors.com.
Thank you. All right. Listeners, it's been fun. It's been real. And at times it was real fun. At times it was a little awkward. Love you too. Thanks for staying in there. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. I'm sure it'll be fun, food-oriented. And
we're going to start calling in.
I like it. Yeah, we'll have you call in. We'll get your podcast launched as soon as we can.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Ciao for now.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says President Trump in his State of the Union address tonight will focus on accomplishments and his agenda, not the supposed chaos in Washington.
The American people are less interested in Beltway melodrama and more interested in that classic question: am I better off now than I was 2 years ago.
And as Sagar Magani reports, the State of the Union address this year coming a week later than first planned.
He was forced to delay the speech in a power play with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over the government shutdown. Political analyst David Barker says this is the president's chance to go on the offensive and settle any shutdown-related doubts among supporters.
I'm still strong. I'm still in charge here.
With the grand backdrop of the House chamber and the nation's most powerful officials hanging on every word, Lara Brown at George Washington University says no matter what happens tonight,
to him, whatever comes out of this is a win to him.
Sagar Magani at the White House.
White House Counselor Kellyanne Conway says the administration would simply like people to hear what the president has to say rather than just resisting his policy.
They should listen to the message and not always just look at the messenger. And I think a little bit more on policy, a lot less on politics, a little bit more on principle, a lot less on palace intrigue.
A jury is into its second day of deliberations at the U.S. trial of the infamous Mexican drug lord known commonly as El Chapo. Defense attorney Jeffrey Lichtman asked what he's hoping for.
I hope an acquittal.
So you think that we'll know a verdict for today?
I don't know what's going to happen today. Your guess is as good as mine.
Jurors back in federal court in Brooklyn today to decide the fate of Joaquin Guzman. The 61-year-old is charged with operating a drug smuggling empire that moved hundreds of tons of cocaine north of the U.S. border over the course of 2 decades and engaged in widespread violence to protect its enterprise. More on these stories from townhall.com.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
It's a funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone, RIDUzone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism,
Yes,
so you're
it does.
burning more.
Yeah,
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com, RIDUzone.com.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us, our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com, use promo code DOC, and get 15% off your purchase. That's neverforgottenapparel.com.
All things food service, recipes, and restaurants. Spoony.
Hey folks, this is Chef Patrick Mosher, better known as the Food Biz Pro, here on Spoony Radio. We have shows regarding food, food culture, the restaurant business, consulting services for businesses, startups of all sorts, not just the restaurant industry. We talk about travel, food destinations. It's a lot of food, fun, and family. Mike from the World's Food Championships will be coming on, giving us a weekly update on Saturday afternoons on what's new in the world of food sport. Yes, folks, I said food sport. No, it's not where competitors walk into Kitchen Stadium and beat each other to death with a limp fish. It's where you have 2,000 events which lead to the World Food Championships. Join us for the World Food Championship updates every week. Join us on Spoony on the Dash Radio Network, 24/7 Food Talk Radio.
We're not solving all the world's problems, but we're bringing people to the table. Spoony, food and fun. This show and more is available on demand at Spoony.com.